When you meet the right person, God will give you these 7 feelings. Marriage is one of the most significant commitments we can make in life. And for Christians, it's not just a covenant between 2 people, but a spiritual journey that reflects God's love and purpose. As you prepare for this sacred union, there are key feelings and signs that God often provides to guide you toward the right person. Whether it's the peace that calms your heart, the joy of companionship, or the spiritual alignment that strengthens your bond, these divine signals can help you discern God's will for your relationship. In this video, we will explore 7 crucial feelings God places in your heart when you meet the person He has chosen for you. From the initial peace to move forward, to the mutual support needed to weather life's storms, each of these feelings offers valuable insight into a relationship that honors God and leads to a fulfilling marriage. If you find this content helpful, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, give us a like, leave a comment, and share it with others. Your engagement helps the YouTube algorithm recognize this as valuable content, allowing it to reach more people who need this encouragement. Together, let's spread these messages of divine guidance to those seeking God's will in their relationships. 1. Peace to move forward. The first fundamental feeling that God places in someone's heart when they meet the right person is peace. Inner peace is one of the clearest signs that you are on the right path, and it is one of the ways God directs His children. As Colossians 3 verse 15 says, "Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts." This means that when we are aligned with God's will, we feel a deep peace, even in the face of life's uncertainties. People often ask, "How will I know if this is the right person for me?" The peace that God gives is not merely the absence of conflict or the feeling that everything is perfect. Instead, it is an inner assurance that, despite any difficulties that may arise, God is in control, and you can move forward with confidence. How to recognize God's peace. This peace is different from superficial or emotional peace. It is not just a fleeting feeling, but a peace that persists, even when you consider the challenges and difficulties of the relationship. When you pray about the relationship, you do not feel paralyzing anxiety or a sense of despair. Instead, there is a calm that allows you to proceed. It is important to note that God does not guarantee that you will have a clear vision of the entire future with this person. In fact, God's peace is often more about the present. God may not show you immediately that this person will be your future spouse, but He will give you peace to move forward step by step. In Philippians 4 verse 7, we read that the peace of God surpasses all understanding, meaning that it transcends human logic. This peace is a gift from God, keeping us calm and serene, even when we cannot see the future. Peace does not mean absence of problems. It is worth remembering that God's peace does not mean you will never face challenges or disagreements in your relationship. In fact, every relationship, especially marriage, requires work, commitment, and often patience. What God's peace provides is the assurance that, even in difficult moments, you are on the right path. If you constantly feel unease or deep unrest about the relationship, it may be a sign that this person is not God's choice for you. 2. Openness to explore the relationship. Another clear sign that you are on the right path toward marriage is the openness that God places in your heart. Some of us are more naturally closed off and guard our feelings cautiously. This may be due to past experiences, fears, or simply a more reserved personality. However, when God presents you with the right person, He will open your heart in a way that you are willing to explore the possibility of a relationship. The balance between caution and openness. The Bible encourages us to guard our hearts, Proverbs 4 verse 23, which means we should be careful not to give ourselves emotionally in a hasty or reckless manner. However, at the same time, there must be a willingness to get to know the other person and see where the relationship might lead. If you feel completely closed off and unable to trust or open up to the person, this may be a sign that God is not guiding you toward this relationship. Openness does not mean you should jump into the relationship without thought, but rather that God will allow you to feel safe enough to seriously consider being with this person. It is a balance between being prudent and being willing to give it a chance. This openness does not have to be immediate. It can take time. God may work in your heart gradually, allowing you to feel comfortable as you get to know the other person better. Example of Isaac and Rebekah. One of the most notable examples of openness in a relationship is the story of Isaac and Rebekah. In Genesis 24, verse 58, Rebekah is called and asked, "Will you go with this man?" And she replies, "I will go." Although this story is extreme and involves a different cultural context, the underlying principle is the same. God will bring a level of willingness and openness in your heart. Even if you do not know all the details about the person or the future, God will allow you to feel the freedom to explore the relationship. 3. Pleasure in being close to this person. God created marriage to be a union that brings joy, contentment, and a sense of fulfillment. While marriage is a holy and sacred institution designed to reflect Christ's love for the church, it should also be a source of genuine pleasure between spouses. This pleasure manifests in various ways, including the emotional joy of being in each other's company, the spiritual connection, and healthy physical attraction. Many Christians fear that God might force them to marry someone they don't like or with whom they don't feel compatible, but this is a misconception. God does not impose joyless relationships. He desires that marriage be a source of happiness and mutual satisfaction. God does not impose unwanted marriages. The idea that God would force someone to marry a person they do not appreciate is contrary to God's loving and kind nature. In Psalm 37, verse 4, we read, "Take delight in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." This does not mean that God superficially grants all our wishes, but rather that, as we delight in Him, our desires align with His will. The pleasure of being with the right person is a reflection of this harmony between our desires and God's plan. Often, the concern that God might impose an unwanted marriage stems from a misunderstanding of God's sovereignty. While He is sovereign and has perfect plans, He also works in our hearts to guide us and give us desires that align with His will. In marriage, God does not intend for us to be in a joyless union or to feel no genuine pleasure in our spouse's company. On the contrary, He wants marriage to be a source of joy, pleasure, and mutual fulfillment. God has also given us free will to make choices within His will. When it comes to marriage, He places people in our lives who will help us grow, both spiritually and emotionally, and who will bring us joy and satisfaction. A healthy, God-blessed relationship will be characterized by moments of contentment and mutual pleasure, not by dissatisfaction or discomfort. The development of pleasure over time. It is important to understand that the pleasure of being with the right person is not always something that arises instantly. As the relationship grows and matures, the pleasure and satisfaction tend to increase. Initially, there may be a period of adjustment and mutual discovery, during which the couple learns about each other's likes, preferences, and personalities. Over time, this familiarity can turn into a deep emotional and spiritual connection that brings joy and satisfaction. Many Christian couples find that, over time, as they invest in the relationship and become more intimate emotionally and spiritually, the pleasure of being in each other's company also grows. This satisfaction is not only about romantic or joyful moments, but also about the deeper connection that develops based on friendship, mutual respect, and shared faith. Healthy marriages are not solely dependent on physical pleasure or initial attraction. While these elements are important, true pleasure in a Christian marriage arises when spouses share a life of communion with God, where they can laugh, converse, and build memories together. When couples are committed to honoring God and serving each other, pleasure naturally becomes a part of the relationship, manifesting in small, everyday moments. Pleasure in companionship and friendship. Beyond romance and physical attraction, the pleasure of being with the right person often manifests through friendship and companionship. A successful marriage is not only a physical union, but also an emotional and intellectual union. Spouses who truly enjoy each other's company develop a solid friendship, which is the foundation of a healthy and happy relationship. This friendship can manifest in simple things, such as enjoying a long and honest conversation, laughing at an inside joke, or simply spending time together in silence, comfortable with each other's presence. It's about finding joy in the small things in life and valuing the time spent together, not just in the big moments, but also in daily routines. Often, it is in these simple moments that couples experience the true satisfaction and pleasure that God intended for marriage. Sharing interests and life visions is another important component of pleasure in marriage. When both spouses are on the same page about fundamental issues, such as their faith, values, and goals, they can build a life together that is rich in meaning and purpose. This does not mean they need to agree on everything, but that there is a mutual understanding and appreciation for each other's interests and dreams. Signs that pleasure is absent. If, over time, you notice that you do not feel pleasure in being with the person you are considering marrying, this may be a red flag. While all relationships have ups and downs, it is essential that, in general, you feel joy and satisfaction in your partner's presence. If instead, there is a feeling of discomfort, disinterest, or even apathy, it may be necessary to reevaluate the relationship. God does not desire for you to enter into a marriage where there is no pleasure or joy. While commitment and sacrifice are important parts of any union, pleasure should also be a central aspect. If you feel disconnected or unhappy in someone's presence, this may indicate that the relationship is not God's will for you. God designed marriage to be a source of pleasure and joy for spouses. This pleasure is not only physical, but involves the joy of sharing life with someone to whom you feel emotionally, spiritually, and mentally connected. The idea that God would force someone to marry a person they do not like is contrary to his loving character. God desires that couples enjoy each other's company and find satisfaction and fulfillment in their relationship. The pleasure of being together can grow over time. As spouses get to know each other better, share their lives, and develop a deep friendship. If God is leading you to marriage, He will also bring this sense of contentment and pleasure in being with the person He has chosen for you. 4. Growing physical attraction. Physical attraction is an important part of any romantic relationship, and in Christian marriage, it plays a fundamental role. While physical attraction should not be the sole foundation of a relationship, it is a relevant component that helps to unite the couple on an emotional and intimate level. The Bible recognizes the beauty and attraction between spouses, showing that physical attraction is part of God's divine plan for marriage. However, it's essential to remember that physical attraction often grows and deepens as the relationship develops. Physical attraction as part of God's plan. The Bible does not overlook the importance of physical attraction in marriage. One of the most beautiful examples of this celebration of physical love can be found in the Song of Solomon. In it, we see the husband and wife expressing their love and admiration for each other's physical beauty. This demonstrates that physical attraction is part of God's design for marriage, where husband and wife are called to delight not only in spiritual and emotional love, but also in physical and romantic love. God created us as physical and emotional beings, and the attraction between husband and wife is one of the components that helps to strengthen the marital bond. However, it's crucial to balance this attraction with other essential aspects of the relationship, such as spiritual compatibility, mutual respect, and emotional connection. If physical attraction is the only foundation of the relationship, it can become superficial and unsustainable over time. Physical attraction can grow over time. Physical attraction is not always instant or overwhelming at the beginning of a relationship. Many couples discover that over time, physical attraction grows and intensifies as the emotional and spiritual relationship deepens. Sometimes, at the start, the emotional connection may be stronger, but as you spend more time together and share experiences, the physical attraction becomes more evident and significant. What's crucial to understand is that physical attraction is part of the process that God designed to unite spouses. He creates a harmony between the physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects, allowing couples to connect on all levels. However, this process takes time, and every relationship develops at its own pace. In some cases, an initial physical attraction may not be as intense, but as emotional feelings and intimacy grow, this attraction also increases. This shows that physical beauty is not the only or most important quality to consider when building a relationship, but rather the depth of the emotional and spiritual bond that is established between the partners. The role of physical attraction in marriage. Physical attraction is fundamental in marriage because it contributes to the intimacy between the couple. God created marriage to be a union that involves not only the mind and spirit, but also the body. Physical intimacy is a way to express love and commitment between husband and wife, and it is an essential part of a healthy marriage. However, physical attraction alone cannot sustain a marriage in the long term. If there is no emotional, spiritual, or mental compatibility, the relationship may weaken. This is particularly true as couples age and their physical appearances change. Physical beauty is temporary, but deep love, mutual respect, and commitment are enduring. Therefore, while physical attraction is important, it should be seen as part of a larger picture. A relationship based solely on external appearance can wear thin, but when physical attraction is accompanied by a strong spiritual and emotional connection, the marriage has a solid foundation to thrive. Changes in attraction over time. As time passes, everyone's physical appearance changes. The couple that was initially drawn to each other's physical beauty will experience these natural changes, and this is where the emotional and spiritual bond becomes even more crucial. Physical attraction can be renewed as love and care for one another grow over time. When a couple values inner beauty and spiritual love, physical attraction can remain strong, even as the years go by. In a Christian marriage centered on God, physical attraction is just one of many elements that contribute to the unity of the couple. It should be balanced with love, respect, friendship, and mutual commitment. These factors are the pillars that sustain a lasting and healthy marriage. 5. Acceptance of uncertainties. When you meet the right person for marriage, one of the most important feelings God will place in your heart is the acceptance of uncertainties. No relationship, no matter how ideal, can predict the future with exact certainty. There are aspects of life and the relationship that will remain unknown, and the ability to accept these uncertainties is an expression of trust in God and His plan for our lives. Marriage, like life itself, is full of mysteries and challenges, and trusting in God's sovereignty is essential to navigate these unknowns. Trusting in God's sovereignty. Accepting uncertainties in a relationship is, ultimately, an expression of trust in God's sovereignty. When Jesus faced the cross, He prayed a powerful prayer that reflects this acceptance of the unknown. Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me, yet not my will, but yours be done. Luke 22, verse 42. This is an example of submission to God's will, even when the future is uncertain and may seem frightening. In a relationship, especially when moving toward marriage, this trust in God's sovereignty is fundamental. You may not have all the answers immediately. There may be times when you are unsure if this person will definitely be your future spouse. However, God will give you peace and acceptance to walk in obedience, trusting that in due time, He will reveal His will more clearly. This acceptance is a form of rest. Instead of being consumed by anxiety or worry about the future, you can trust that God is in control and that, as you walk in obedience, He will guide your steps. As Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." Accepting the process of growth. Part of accepting uncertainties involves accepting the process of growth in the relationship. This means that not everything will be clear or resolved from the beginning. There may be issues or challenges that you will need to face along the way. The important thing is to be willing to grow together and allow God to refine you both as a couple. Often, we want to know the end of the story before we have lived through the initial chapters. However, God frequently calls us to trust Him step by step. By accepting uncertainties, you allow the relationship to develop in a healthy and natural way, without forcing things or rushing to premature conclusions. This growth process is essential to form a solid and lasting bond. Not ignoring red flags, Accepting uncertainties does not mean ignoring red flags or important issues that arise in the relationship. On the contrary, it is part of the wise discernment that God desires for you to exercise. If there are signs that something is wrong or that this person is not the right one for you, it's important to pay attention to these warnings. God also uses challenges and difficulties to help us evaluate whether we are on the right path. By accepting uncertainties, you are trusting God to reveal what needs to be revealed in due time. However, this should not be confused with passivity. Continuing to seek wisdom, prayer, and counsel throughout the relationship is an essential part of how God guides His children. Walking with faith and confidence. Ultimately, the acceptance of uncertainties is rooted in faith in God and His goodness. When you trust that He is in control, you can move forward with confidence, even without having all the answers. A healthy marriage requires both partners to learn to deal with uncertainties together, trusting that God will guide and sustain the relationship. This acceptance also involves being willing to submit to God's will, even if it may be different from what you imagined. As you walk through the relationship, your trust in Him will be tested and strengthened, allowing you to build a union based on faith and commitment to God. 6. Alignment of spiritual purposes and values. One of the most crucial aspects of any relationship, especially in Christian marriage, is the alignment of spiritual purposes and values between the partners. When God guides you toward the right person, He often places a sense of spiritual harmony in your heart, signaling that both of you share similar values and life goals. Spiritual alignment is the foundation of a blessed and lasting marriage, allowing you to navigate life's challenges with a shared vision and purpose. The Bible emphasizes the importance of spiritual compatibility in marriage. In 2 Corinthians 6 verse 14, we are advised, "Do not be yoked together with unbelievers. For what do righteousness and wickedness have in common? Or what fellowship can light have with darkness?" This scripture highlights the potential conflict and discord that can arise when two people are not spiritually aligned. God desires that spouses walk together in faith, glorifying Him through their union and joint mission in life. What does it mean to be spiritually aligned? Spiritual alignment goes beyond simply identifying as a Christian. It is not enough for both partners to attend church or profess belief in God. True spiritual alignment involves an active faith, where both partners are committed to following Christ and living according to biblical principles. It means that you share the same foundation of faith, and this faith guides your decisions, your marriage, and how you raise your family. Being spiritually aligned also means agreeing on the role of God in your marriage. Both spouses must recognize that God is at the center of their union, and that the Bible is their ultimate authority for decision-making. This shared foundation impacts many areas of life, including how you manage finances, how you approach parenting, and how you resolve conflicts. When a couple is spiritually aligned, they are able to face life's challenges together, always seeking God's guidance in every area of their lives. The importance of sharing life goals and purposes. Another essential aspect of spiritual alignment is sharing life goals and purposes. Marriage is not just a romantic union. It is a partnership in which both spouses work together to fulfill God's purpose for their lives. If one partner feels called to missionary work, for example, while the other desires a more stable and comfortable life, there could be tension in the relationship. The same goes for other practical matters such as church involvement, how to raise children, or the level of commitment to ministry. Sharing similar goals in life allows both partners to work together as a team. You need to be on the same page regarding significant decisions that will shape your future as a couple. When you both have a clear sense of God's calling on your lives and how you will serve Him together, it brings unity, purpose, and direction to your marriage. How to recognize spiritual alignment. Recognizing spiritual alignment can be observed in how you and your partner interact concerning your faith. Do you pray together? Do you share Bible studies and spiritual insights? Do you encourage each other in your walk with God? These are signs that your relationship is spiritually aligned. Another important aspect is how you handle conflict. If both of you turn to biblical principles and seek God's will when resolving disagreements, This is a clear indicator that you are spiritually compatible. Spiritual alignment is also evident in how you both approach challenges and trials. When difficulties arise, do you both seek God's guidance through prayer and His Word? A couple that is spiritually aligned is not easily shaken by adversity because they trust in God's sovereignty and rely on Him to strengthen their relationship. In summary, spiritual alignment is the foundation upon which a Christian marriage is built. When you are with someone who shares your values, goals, and faith, your relationship has a solid basis to withstand the trials of life. God uses marriage as a tool to mold both partners into His character, and this is only possible when both are committed to Him. If you and the person you are dating or considering marrying are spiritually aligned, it is a powerful sign that you are on the right path. 7. Mutual support and resilience during difficult times. One of the deepest feelings God places in your heart when you meet the right person is the sense of mutual support. Marriage is a lifelong commitment, and throughout that journey, there will be moments of difficulty. To get through the highs and lows together requires more than romantic love. It requires resilience and the ability to be a constant source of support for each other. God calls spouses to be helpers for one another, as Eve was created to be a helper for Adam, according to Genesis 2, verse 18. Marriage is not just about happy moments. It is about facing life's challenges in partnership. Ecclesiastes 4, verses 9 to 10 reminds us, "Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up." This passage reflects the essence of a healthy marriage, where both spouses are a source of strength for one another. The importance of mutual support in marriage. Mutual support is what sustains a relationship during times of trial. Whether it's a financial crisis, an unexpected illness, or emotional struggles such as depression and anxiety, a strong marriage depends on both partners' ability to support one another. This means more than just being physically present. It means offering emotional encouragement, spiritual support, and sometimes taking on additional responsibilities temporarily to help the other person through a tough time. In a Christian marriage, this support is rooted in faith in God. Praying together, reading Scripture, and seeking God's counsel can provide the wisdom and strength necessary to overcome challenges. As Romans 12, verse 12 says, "Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer." Praying together as a couple not only draws you closer to God, but also strengthens the bond between you and your spouse. Resilience in difficult times. Resilience in marriage is the ability to face adversity without breaking. This doesn't mean there will never be moments of weakness, but rather that you choose to continue fighting for the relationship, even when things are hard. Resilience doesn't develop overnight. It grows over time as the couple faces various challenges together. Isaiah 40, verse 31 reminds us that those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength and soar on wings like eagles. This shows that resilience in marriage comes from trusting in God to renew the couple's strength when things seem impossible. A resilient couple knows that their strength does not come solely from their abilities, but from trusting in God to guide them through life's storms. How to recognize mutual support. You can recognize mutual support in a relationship by observing how your partner reacts when you are going through a tough time. Do they offer support without judgment? Are they willing to pray with you and for you? Do they know when to encourage you or simply listen? If you feel that you can rely on your partner to face challenges and, at the same time, feel strengthened by their presence, it is a strong indication that mutual support is present in the relationship. Another sign is how you both handle challenges together. If you face problems as a team rather than individually and seek solutions that benefit both of you, then mutual support is there. Resilience and mutual support are also demonstrated when the couple does not give up on each other, even when circumstances are difficult. Mutual support and resilience are crucial for the survival and growth of a marriage. A couple that supports each other spiritually, emotionally, and physically creates a solid foundation to face life's inevitable challenges. Resilience is born from trust in God and the ability of both partners to strengthen each other. If you and your partner are willing to support one another and face life's difficulties together, It's a clear sign that your relationship has the potential for a lasting and